Hello everyone, first of all, Happy New Year's, and second of all, welcome to another episode of Buff Breakdown. And you might notice I am doing this offline this time. I am even streaming today. But the reason I decided to do it now is because one, I wanted to get this video out fast, and two, I'm gonna be so focused on the New Year stuff later for the JP side that I just wanted to, do this before I stream today. So we got some huge news for buffs. They finally buffed Gilgamesh Archer again, as you can see. That is already crazy. And they also buffed Enkidu. Wow, that's crazy when you think about it. Yeah, it really is. So I assume these buffs are because of strange fake stuff. But yeah, besides that, let's just get on to talking about the buffs. Now, if you excuse me, I have to use Atlas today, because the wiki isn't updated yet, so it doesn't look as pretty, but what could you do? So they buffed Gilgamesh's first skill here, right? The Charisma. So what it used to do is only give a 21% attack for 3 turns on the entire party on a 5-turn cooldown. Maybe back in launch this was fine. Nowadays it sucks. But let's see. So the cooldown remains the same, 5 turns. The attack up remains the same for 3 turns, 21%. And now it does 2 new things. First of all, a flat 20 star bomb if you have the skill on rank 10. So that's already pretty cool. And then all allies 20% MP damage. Now the trait is listed here as unknown, but because I can read Japanese, hey, I'm good. Yeah, it's for allied servants that have the sky attribute or heaven, depending on some translations. But yeah, the sky attribute servants, which I'm pretty sure he himself is also included, otherwise this wouldn't really make too much sense. They now get 20% MP damage for 3 turns. So now, on a 5-turn cooldown, you get 21% AoE attack, 20% slightly niche MP damage, which includes himself, and then a 20-star bomb. So nowadays, that on a 5-turn cooldown is really, really good. This is a great skill now, needless to say. And if before you even ask, yes, you can stack this with Koyan Light. So let's immediately jump into looking at his numbers. Excuse me if you heard the dog in the background. Shout out to Jord again for updating this sheet. I will be linking this in the description as well, for those that want to see them for themselves. So this is what Gilgamesh's looping damage with a double Vich Oberon setup used to look like. And this row here is the new damage, and this obviously takes into account the stacking MP damage you get from the Koyan cooldown reduction as well, right? Excuse me. So obviously now his turn 3 damage is gonna peak. It is very high. In fact, it is easily the highest of the archers. So he has that going for him now as well, I suppose. But overall, the difference is not the biggest. For waves 1 and 2, it's nice, but it doesn't really break the game or anything like that. Wave 3, you're gonna see a big difference. But to be honest, in farming nodes, a lot of the times, the big HP targets on the last wave tend to be servants anyway. And I would say at least 90% of the servants in the game actually are weak to Enumalish. So he really didn't really have too much trouble killing servants on the wave 3 anyway. So, not sure how big this will be. We'll see. I guess, some 90 plus might prove me wrong or something. So then on the archer tier list this year, again, a lot of these will definitely change once the new lists happen, by the way. But these are the ones I have them placed almost a year ago. And I had him at A+. And honestly, you could even argue that he was maybe even supposed to be on the A tier, which obviously people would have crucified me if I said he's A tier. But now, you might think it's a great skill now, right? Easy bump to EX. I'm still gonna hold off. Yeah. So I think the main reason for that is that this really doesn't change too much. Like, the skill is now great, don't get me wrong. But his farming is mostly gonna be the same. Maybe helps with people that have, like, weaker Gil out there. But, besides that, he doesn't really change much. Like, he's still lacking a survival option. He doesn't have crit damage, which would have been really good to see. I just realized you can't even see the tiers here. There we go. He still lacks the crit damage, which would have been great. I still have high hope that they will actually buff his golden rule still to maybe include a crit damage buff and or a buster buff. Or maybe some defensive buff as well would be cool. I would say, maybe I could maybe even say A++, but honestly, I don't think I could place him above Tesla at this point. But yeah, maybe A++, I don't know. I'll leave him at A+ for now, honestly. I still prefer Tesla myself, honestly, when it comes to the AoE Buster Archers, but yeah, you know, that's why opinions exist and all. So yeah, Gil got a buff though, yay. It's been a long time. I can't even count how many years it has been, but yeah, he got a buff, so that's cool. Very nice regardless. Now let's talk about the Enkidu buff. Gonna try and keep this brief. Oh yeah, if you're wondering what this skill is called now, it's like, it goes from charisma to like, the one who has seen everything. You know, lore, that's fun. So for Enkidu, we go from perfect form to wisdom of the people, I believe, if my, you know, translation is accurate enough, something like that. So what the skill, it's his third skill, obviously, and what this used to do is do a fat heal on himself, and then remove all debuffs that can be removed. And it was also on a high turn cooldown. This skill was never, like, you know, amazing or anything like that. It was nice to have to give him more longevity. He also happens to have a very high HP for a Lancer, which, you know, synergizes with the heal, I suppose. So now, what did? They added one thing. And it's a battery. And it's not just a small battery. It is up to a 50% battery. Now, before you go crazy, okay? Yeah, it's big, but it's honestly not like insane though. Like your first reaction might be like, what? That like arguably the best single target Lancer in the game just randomly got a 50% battery, like that is insanity. Okay, hear me out here. It's still a 10 turn cooldown. That remains unchanged, okay? So keep that in mind. So that's mostly why this buff is kind of tame. Like, yeah, it's even crazy to say an addition of a 50% battery can still be considered tame. Yeah, I know. But it's mostly because of the 10 turn cooldown of the skill on max rank. And the other thing that prevents it from being like absolutely insanely broken is that it's kind of awkward. Hear me out here, right, again, because it's a heal and a cleanse, right? So if you're gonna use this on turn 1, you have a 10 turn cooldown before you can access that big heal and the cleanse again, which you might need throughout a fight, honestly. So it's definitely a bit awkward to use, because you want that battery. In most cases, you probably want it on turn 1. Obviously, this also makes Black Rail better on him, by the way. Not that he needs it, because MP already hits hard as hell. But yeah, but then you will lose out on these two, being these will not really do anything. So it's a choice you have to make. Do you want to save the cooldown for the heal and the cleanse? Or do you say fuck it and just get a fat battery from the get-go? I guess it depends on the situation, so it's actually nice to have that option regardless. But the fact of the matter remains that it's slightly awkward to use, and the cooldown is also still very high. Now on my Lancer tier list, I had Enkidu placed at EX, arguably the best single target Lancer in the game. I think as single target he is better than Melusin for what it's worth, because she still can't even use her third skill if you want to keep her in single target mode. So yeah, I would say he's probably the best single target Lancer still in the game. But I would not bump him to EX+, no. I would not do that, even with the addition of a 50% battery. I think this is a perfect ranking for him. It really makes sense to me. So hopefully no one is too mad that I'm not really going to move Gil or Enkidu too much here. And don't worry, there will be new versions of these lists come early next year. And again, a lot of these that you see in both of these, all the servants, there might be quite a bit of changes. Especially those that got helped a lot by mighty chains and or buffs and or quick chain removal. So there you go. I will keep Enkidu in EX. So yeah, it's not as crazy as it seems. But yeah, it's nice. So there you go. I don't know how long this was. I probably rambled on for quite a bit, but excuse me for that. I just wanted to get this video out before I'm streaming today. And if you're catching this video live on YouTube, I might be live right now. And then, you know, maybe come say hi when I do JP New Year's gacha, whoever it is for. So as a TLDR, before I finish here, buffs. Gil buff doesn't change too much, but I'm glad this skill is now a modern skill. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, maybe has some 90++ applications where you might actually need some stars and or buffing your teammates as well if you're running double DPS. Very cool. And for the Enkidu buff, awkward to use, high cooldown still prevents it from being insane, but you know what, he was already amazing. Yeah, what could I say, it's already very good, so yeah, I think he is just the best single target Lancer of the damage dealers in the game. So there you go, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Excuse me, I probably shouldn't have recorded this immediately after eating because my voice is kind of messed up. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button on this. Again, there will be more tier lists, new versions, 2023 versions, okay, starting early next year, so subscribe if you have not, or stay subscribed to not miss out on those. And Happy New Year's, and I hope to see you in the next video. And a peace out.